Okay, the time is approximately 6:02 p.m., April 27, 2023. Farragut Board Mayor and Alderman will now come to order. All Farragut Board Mayor and Alderman meetings are public notice per Tennessee state law. Our meetings can be seen live on Charter Channel 193, TDS Channel 3, as well as the Farragut YouTube channel and our website. It will also be recorded. It can be viewed at a later date on Town of Farragut YouTube channel, as well as Charter Channel 193 and TDS Channel 3. During the regular posted agenda, all comments or questions from the Farragut residents will now be in person. If you're interested in speaking, we'll ask that you fill out a blue card with your name, address, and the agenda number, and turn it in to the town recorder prior to the start of the meeting. The mayor, or in his absence, the vice mayor, shall maintain and control the meeting to provide a professional and objective environment. So please read the posted comment protocol and understand that there will be a 5-minute limit for each speaker, and please stay on topic, as at the end of this meeting, there will be some time reserved for other public comment under citizens' comments that does not pertain to a posted agenda item. Okay, we'll start with a meeting call to order, and that will be a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our country's flag.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll now ask the town recorder to please take an attendance roll call for a quorum.
Alderman Burnett.
here.
Alderman Pavlin.
Here.
Alderman White. Here. Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams here. Thank you, David. We do have a quorum. Approval of agenda. Are there any agenda amendments?
No, sir.
None?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approval, please say yes.
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 Let the record show the April 27th, 2023 agenda has been approved as stated. Approval of minutes. Do we have any amendments to the minutes?
No, sir.
None?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor of approval, please say yes.
Yes.
Let the record show April 13th, 2023 minutes have been approved and will be recorded as official minutes of that meeting. Okay, Mayor's report. A little bit to do tonight. I'll start by thanking the Attorney General, Sharm Allen, for hosting the 2023 National Crime Victims' Rights Week kickoff reception. What I'm going to do is first read into the record a proclamation concerning that particular topic. Whereas the term victim is more than just a label and has legal standing and protections that go along with it. And whereas crime victims' rights guarantee victims the right to a meaningful, participate, and use their voice in a criminal justice process. Whereas victim service providers, advocates, and law enforcement officers, attorneys, and other allied professionals can help survivors find their justice by enforcing these rights. Whereas the right to provide an impact statement ensures the victim's voices are considered in court during the sentencing and when applicable restitution process. Whereas including and elevating the voices of survivors makes certain that they are heard and seen and creates a path to forging and sustaining community trust. Whereas engaging survivors creates responses and services that are credible, meaningful, and centered on individual needs. Whereas survivors' lived experience can serve as a catalyst for implementing innovative programs, shifting existing programs in new directions, and changing policies or practices that prevent survivors from accessing services or pursuing justice. Whereas the National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to recommit to listening to crime survivors in every space where decisions are made that could impact them. Now, therefore, the Board, Mayor, and Alderman, Town of Farragut, Tennessee, recognizes the week of April 23rd through April 29, 2023 as a National Crime Victims' Rights Week and support the voices of survivors so that they are of confidence that they will be heard and believed and supported. Thank you.
Is that it for you?
And that will be a segue into the Vice Mayor's proclamation.
I have a proclamation honoring Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Now, therefore, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the Town of Farragut, Tennessee, recognize the week of April 30th through May 6th, 2023 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Allison Myers, for the vital services she performs and her dedication to the Town of Farragut.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. Any of the other aldermen have anything to report? If not, we'll move on to our posted agenda items. We have two ordinances on tonight's agenda for review and public hearing. We'll start with Ordinance 23-06 on the first reading of an ordinance to amend the Farragut Municipal Code, Chapter 105, Article 2, International Building Code, Section 105-20I, to extend the expiration time frame for certain permits, and Section 105-20S to correct a clerical error by referencing the appropriate section to amend Chapter 105, Article 3, International Residential Code, Section 105-53C, to extend the expiration time frame for certain permits, and Section 105-53H to remove this section and renumber accordingly.
Carl, go ahead.
Carl Swersko, Building Official, Town of Farragut. Primarily what this does, it updates the ordinance to extend timeframes within certain permits to be completed. And it's actually beneficial because for the most part, it'll take projects from 60 to 180 days, 30 days to 60 days. And staff has discovered, along with talking to some local contractors, that the times that were previously in there are just not realistic in today's days for completing a project, which wound up ending in expiring permits, additional fees. A lot of staff time was used up on this. So the other is just some clerical errors that are getting cleaned up from when we adopted back in 2019. And again, these changes have no negative impact whatsoever on our customers and the public and the permit holders. And we ask that, and I strongly recommend that this gets through on the first reading.
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, do we have any resident comments on
No,
this
sir.
one? None? Okay, Carl, step here, please, because we're going to go to discussion, and we'll start with Alderman White for questions.
Just one question. Is this primarily construction
Yes, sir.
contract? Doesn't affect residential permits for revisions or?
Not at all. And this is aligned with both commercial and residential permits.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Alderman Burnett.
Carl, you've talked to customers and they're very happy with this,
Yes,
these
absolutely.
changes. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it sounds like a very business-friendly move to make, giving them extra time and
Very
not
much
have to
so.
resubmit and spend extra money. So,
Yes.
good job.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Mr. Schwerko, just one quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's more of a request. Can we please reassess this in 6 months to make sure that this is meeting the needs? If we still continue to see permits expiring, I'd like for, obviously, for you to reassess that and see if we need to go back and address this. I understand market forces are what they are, and everything is delayed. So if this is still an issue 6 months from now, I'd like to take another look at it.
Sure.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, we have a situation where supply chain is just now starting to catch up, and some of the projects have been delayed because of that, and it's not the developer or the builder's fault. It's not your fault. It's not our fault. It's just what's going on now. So, yes, reassessing would be a good thing.
Okay. And sir, if I may add, that's the whole purpose of adding additional time to these permits,
Yeah.
to give people ample time, so.
Yeah.
Okay, with sufficient discussion, I'll ask Town Recorder to take a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir. Vice Mayor Pavlin,
Yes.
Alderman Burnett,
Yes.
Alderman White,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that ordinance 23-06 has been approved by roll call vote as presented on the first reading. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next will be ordinance 23-04 on the second reading of an ordinance to amend the capital investment program budget and the state street aid fund budget for fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. It was passed by ordinance 22-09.
Thank you, Mayor. There are two different funds to look at amending tonight. One is the Capital Investment Program. We have two projects, the Little Turkey Creek Greenway and Mayor Bob Leonard Baseball Field Improvements for a total of $200,000 that needs to be added to the budget to complete those by the end of the fiscal year. We also have, or get them funded for the beginning of the end of this fiscal year, excuse me. We also have the State Street Aid Fund, which will be an increase from $1.43 million to $2.284 million. For moving funds from the FY22 budget to the FY23 budget in order to fund our resurfacing project, which you'll see in just a few minutes. So with those two, the motion is to approve ordinance 23-04 on second and final reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do we have any resident comments?
No, sir.
None? Okay. Discussion, Alderman White?
No, sir.
None? Alderman Burnett?
No questions.
Vice Mayor?
I have none.
I have none as well. With discussion closed, I'll ask the Town Recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pavlin,
Yes.
Alderman White,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that ordinance 23-04 has been approved by roll call vote on the second reading. Okay, next, business items. We have three of those on tonight's agenda to review and consider. First off will be approval of a proposal from Pew CPA to provide financial and compliance audit services.
Mayor, each year the town works and strives for a higher level of accountancy than is required by the state of Tennessee. And we call that the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting that's provided by the Government Finance Officers Association of America. We have been receiving these awards for several years now, and we want to continue making sure that we strive to receive those. Pew CPAs is a new firm to us, but not one in the community. They have 30-plus years experience in the governmental sector. They are working currently with Knox County government, the cities of Alcoa, Maryville, Loudoun, and Pigeon Forge. This proposal before you is to perform the town's audit for the next 3 fiscal years in 23, 24, and 25. It includes fees for a single audit if required due to expenditures within the ARPA fund that we currently have. And it also includes the Municipal Chart of Accounts crosswalk, and this is a conversion that is required by the Comptroller Treasury to be started this next fiscal year. So the proposal is to approve the contract with Pew CPAs to perform our annual audit for the next 3 years. In the amounts of $24,500 this year, $25,500 next year, and $26,500 in FY 2025. And we'd recommend approval.
Move to approve.
Okay. Any resident comments?
No, sir.
None on this one. Discussion, Alderman White?
None.
Alderman Burnett?
No questions.
Vice Mayor?
I have none.
I have none as well. With discussion closed, I'll now ask that all in favor of approval state so by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Let the record show that the proposal has been approved as presented. Okay, next will be approval of bids and awards for contract 2023-05, which would be resurfacing of various streets. And Darrell, you're up. Yeah.
Good evening. Throughout the year, our engineering staff keeps a kind of a rolling list of our resurfacing priorities. They just keep an eye on all the streets. In the spring, we put together the list that we're going to do for this year based on what we see at that time. And of course, that list is made out to try to stay within our budget that's been allotted. This year, we received 4 bids. That was on April 11th. APAC Atlantic bid $943.25. Duracap Asphalt bid $1,012,460.32. PRI of East Tennessee bid $977,956 even, and Rogers Group bid $1,335,000 even. The bid tabulations were in your packet. APAC Atlantic has completed our resurfacing many times in the past. We've always been happy to work with them. So staff recommends award of contract 2023-05 to APAC Atlantic Incorporated for their low bid of $901,943.25.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Resident comments?
None.
None? Okay, we'll start discussion with Alderman Burnett.
No real questions. I'm fine with APAC. Just kind of curious, Darrell, how, what do you think the state of our roads are and the manner in which we're keeping up with them? Think we're on track, a little bit behind?
I think our network is in good condition. I think we're going to have to start doing more. I mean, this year we're resurfacing about 4.5 lane miles. We need to do quite a few more than that. Right now, the pricing is really high, and we're just staying within our budget.
How many miles would you recommend?
Well, if you figure we have probably a little over 300 lane miles of roadway. If you figure 20, 25 years of life expectancy on between resurfacing, that comes to something closer to 15, 16 miles, lane miles. So now we've done as much as we could, but I think it's going to probably have to be stepped up in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, Alderman White.
No questions.
Vice Mayor.
I have actually have been calling for that as well for the last couple of budget seasons, that we need to be looking at that, because I keep saying we had a ton of neighborhoods come online in late 80s and early 90s, and that is going to come bite us in our butt if we don't get on top of that. So I agree that we need to be adding more.
Okay, well, with the increase of traffic load from the cut-through traffic and with the amount of new people we have moving in, I think we're going to have to get ahead of it. So I hope the next time you come to us, it will be showing an increase in our paving. So that's all I have with sufficient discussion. I'll ask that all in favor of approval, vote by saying yes.
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 Let the record show that award of contract 2023-05 has been approved for APAC. Okay, next will be approval of professional services agreement with LDA Engineering for engineering services for development of Virtue Road, Boyd Station Road improvements.
Back in September, you approved a contract with the Tennessee Department of Transportation for development of the Virtue Road Phase 2 project. That is to pick up where we stopped with Phase 1, which is about 1,200 feet south of Needlegrass. It's Brookmere subdivision. To start there, go all the way to Boyd Station, turn and go 1,200 feet on Boyd Station to Willow Cove Way, I believe is the name. So all told, it's a little over a mile of reconstruction of roadway. I think there's 1,750 feet, is that right, of greenway as well? That's right, to go up to Evans. It's about 2,000 feet of shared use greenway as well.
What did you say about Evans Road, Daryl?
We're going to be extending a greenway from Evans Road down to the Grove subdivision, where they're going to be tying a greenway into the subdivision. They own a little property right there by the church, just south side of the church. So they'll be able to extend that, tie it into the subdivision, and eventually it goes all the way to McPhee Road.
That's an east to west.
Gotcha. So the greenway is going to be on the west side.
I think you can see it on the map. It's kind of hard to tell on the overhead, but you might be able to see it on your screen. It's in green.
Yeah.
I think we're all going to really like that greenway extension too. So,
Daryl, is there an existing sidewalk there on Inglecrest Lane that comes into Sheffield? So the Sheffield Greenway comes in, and then is there a sidewalk there, or what is that dotted green line? Do you know?
oh, we may have to extend a little bit farther from the bridge. We could do that as part of this project, to extend from the bridge up to the sidewalk at Sheffield.
No, I mean in the neighborhood. You go up Sheffield Greenway, and then in on Inglecrest Lane.
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry. That is sidewalk.
It's existing
Right,
sidewalk.
and it will connect all the way to Turkey Creek Road.
Okay.
That's a new section, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We advertised a request for qualifications back in February for selection of design consultant. That is a process where we request engineering firms to provide their qualifications, and we make a selection based purely on their qualifications. We had 8 firms that responded. Our opinion was that LDA Engineering provided the best qualifications response. So LDA, Jason Elliott is here tonight with LDA if you have any questions from him. They provided the agreement that is in your packet to provide all of the engineering services with a lump sum fee of $739,000.
Got a move to approve?
Second.
Okay, any resident comments?
No, sir.
None? Okay, discussion, we'll start with Alderman Burnett.
I mean, this is a really tricky road and greenway. On a level of 1 to 10, how hard is it? I mean, I look at one side and we got water, and the other side steep terrain and a hard curve.
There are parts of it where
Can you?
Jason, if you
We-
can come
yeah.
up to the podium, Jason.
We may have a boardwalk. So,
I'm Jason Elliott. I'm with LDA Engineering, the lead engineer. There are sections of this where we're going to be threading a needle to fit a wider roadway and the greenway in. It may require some retaining walls. It may require a boardwalk section, especially that area around where Turkey Creek Road comes in. So there will be some tricky areas. And did you ask on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, how difficult is it? I could do 1 to 100.
I'm not going to say a 10. A lot of it is fairly straightforward, but it's probably about an 8 or a 9.
You got any creative ideas for the curve on the Boyd Station?
Flatten it a little bit flatter. So the first thing we were going to look at is maybe extending that flatter curve around the corner. Of course, that'll mean taking some of that front yard of the resident that lives there on the corner. But that would probably be our first attempt to see how flat we can get that. That yard is also much higher, so we'd probably be looking at a short retaining wall there to make that work. So we really won't know the details till we get into the design process, so
Do you anticipate needing to buy any property around that curve?
probably, yes.
Property or right-of-way?
Property.
We'll be buying property that will become right-of-way, yes.
Okay, no more questions.
Yeah, Alderman White,
No, sir. None.
None. Vice Mayor.
What's the design speed for this?
So the posted speed is 30. The design speed will be 35 to 40.
Okay, I would assume a 35 mile per hour design speed will give you a little bit more flexibility in design than a 40 would.
It probably will in some aspects of it. That's why we're going to shoot for that range. But that is a fairly low design speed, so we should have some latitude there.
Well, and I'll say this because I am a fan we went through the Union Road design, and obviously I know that Virtue Road and Boyd Station is more heavily traveled and probably traveled at a higher rate of speed, but we will have pedestrians there, and trying to marry this posted speed limit with the design speed makes me a little bit more comfortable with the fact that we're trying to put pedestrians in the same space as we are putting cars. So we don't need the cars being influenced to go any faster than the speed limit. And that's always been my concern. So I'm a fan for a lower speed design if we can get it.
Agreed. And so the lower the design speed, the more of a traffic calming effect that you
Yeah.
have, and that's what we'll be going for.
And this is a straight way anyway. It's a struggle to maintain.
Yeah.
We have a wide open freeway on McPhee, and so I just don't want to keep on creating those. On understanding that Evans Road I don't know that has a design speed. I'm not sure that it's a designed road, but people drive way too fast on that road, and people drive way too fast on Union Road, which is barely a one-lane road. So, but we don't need to design it any faster than we need to. So that's my 3 cents.
I understand, and we'll take traffic calming into consideration.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with the Vice Mayor. This is a heavy pedestrian area. Any time you get to where you're going to be connected to a park, then the area that's over on Turkey Creek Road is a heavy use as well. So keeping the design speed down, I think, is the way to go here, because it just needs to be a given that that's where we're at, in my opinion. Okay, with discussion now closed, I'll ask that all in favor of approval state so by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Let the record show the agreement with LDA has been approved. Okay, next will be Town Administrator's
Thank you.
report. Appreciate it.
Mayor, I always like to give kudos to our employees whenever they reach some milestones, and we had a couple of employees in the last few weeks that have received some certifications that take some time to get to and get through. One is Assistant to the Town Administrator Trevor Hobbs. He recently received the Tennessee Certified Economic Development designation from the UT Center for Industrial Services. It was a 2-year program, I think, that Trevor went through. It's going to be a great asset to us for him to have that designation and work in our economic development initiatives going forward. And also our tourism manager, Karen Tyndall. She received her professional and destination management certification. It's also another program that Karen has been working on rigorously the last few years. And it's great to have her receive that designation and be such a great asset to our tourism program. So with that, I will be happy to answer any questions if the board has any.
Okay, I sure don't. Anyone else? No. Mr. Hale's seat is vacant, so that will not be a attorney report tonight. And next will be citizens' comments.
We have a few tonight, Mayor.
Okay. At the end of tonight's business meeting, we have reserved time for public comment for our Farragut residents. Looks like we do have people signed up, and if each speaker will be ready, to step up to the mic and give your name when called on, and state your address as well for the record. And hopefully everyone's read the protocol. If not, then please do get a copy of it and read it, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Okay, our first speaker tonight is Sherry Entveld, and then after Sherry will be Debbie Funk.
Good evening. My name is Sherry Infelt, and I live at 208 Newport Road in Farragut. I'm a resident of Farragut and co-owner of Euphoric Cheese Shop and the soon-to-be-opened Sparrow Wine Bar. I'm here today to advocate for Steve Kropansky and the Farragut Business Alliance. Steve was one of the first people affiliated with the town to come welcome us to the community when we were under construction approximately 2.5 years ago. We hadn't even opened our doors yet, but he was in our shop to welcome us and to meet us. It's this sort of sense of community and friendship that attracted us to locate our business here in Farragut in the first place. When we were first looking at retail spaces, we considered many other areas in Knoxville, but kept coming back to Farragut due to its sense of place, family values, and small-town feel. I personally like living and operating a business where I know customers by name and they know mine. I like being in a community where there are fun events to attend, both personally and professionally, and I know my neighbors do too. We want to live, play, and work in one area, not in different parts of Knoxville. The events that the Farragut Business Alliance plans are a great way for Farragut citizens to gather, connect, and make memories. And I'm afraid that if Steve's position goes away, so will these opportunities that strengthen our community. As a small business owner, my time is monopolized with the demands of my job. I don't have a big corporate office backing me up or that can advocate for my business concerns. So it's helpful to me to have someone like Steve who can be an extension of my business and other Farragut businesses to help express our concerns and be a part of discussions that have our interests at heart. Recently, my business partner and I were considering an expansion. We again looked at other areas in Knoxville, but decided to stay here in Farragut. We have doubled down on Farragut being a good place to operate a business, and I ask that the town continue to double down on Steve and supporting him in the Farragut Business Alliance.
Sherry, while you're here, I
Yes.
want to thank you, you and Candace and business owners like you that dedicate your own personal savings
Yes.
to build out a business in Farragut means something.
Yes.
I know this, my husband and I have done the same thing. We value small businesses, the community values small businesses. It is the thing I hear most is we want more small businesses, mom and pop businesses, unique businesses. And you bring something unique to the table. I was so excited when you announced that you were opening a wine bar
Yes.
adjacent to your cheese shop. I've been in your cheese shop. You guys
Yes.
are doing, your social media is wonderful. I loved your April Fool's Day. That was really cute. So I just want to thank you. And I want to thank you for coming here. We get a lot of crap on social media about the FBA, and they do hard work. They've been just trying to support our local businesses in Shop Farragut, and it just seems to be something that a handful of people who don't own businesses, who don't sacrifice their time and come to these events and be part of our community, seem to like to use it as a punching bag. So I appreciate you being here and
Absolutely.
standing up for what the FBA does.
Absolutely, I'm happy to do it.
Our next speaker is Debbie Funk, and after Debbie will be Michelle Austin.
Hi, I'm Debbie Funk. I own the embroidery boutique and Funky's Meat Snacks. I'm at 141 Brooklawn Street, and I'm also here to support Steve in the Farragut Business Alliance. He is the one who asked me to come and be part of the board of the Farragut Business Alliance, and he always supports my businesses and what I do. But I also wanted to state, I'm on the side of the business that a lot of my business is not in Farragut. My actual business is in Farragut, but I bring a lot of outside businesses to Farragut. So when we have these events and things, I personally feel that we should not be alienating outside businesses, because for me, it helps my business to be able to have these outside companies and things come to these events and support us. So I just wanted to be here to support Steve and the Farragut Business Alliance.
Debbie, and I'll say the same thing, because you're a small business owner that took a risk on Farragut. And I hope when you heard me today, what I'm trying to do is delineate out Shop Farragut
Yes.
and our community events. Because these events that we have are of value, but they really are more community events. They're not necessarily tied to just Shop Farragut. In my mind, as a funding issue, it shouldn't matter to you what bucket this comes from.
Correct.
To me, it matters because I'm approving a budget and it has to make sense. So the Shop Farragut funds are for, because we have to show some value of that, separate from the community events, which also have value, but in a different way. So that's all I'm trying to do, is make this sense and make it make sense for all of you, for the FBA board, as we go forward. That's all that I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Understood.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, next up is Michelle Austin, and then after that will be Candace Viox.
Hi, my name is Michelle Austin. I'm the general manager of the J.C. Penney in Farragut. It's 11534 Parkside Drive. I am here to support the FBA also today, not as a small business owner, but as a large business that brings a lot of tax dollars to Farragut. So, I came to this store, and this is my 5th J.C. Penney's that I have been in. I'm from Knoxville, and I got to move back to Knoxville to come to this store, which was very special to me, because I got to bring my family home to their grandparents, so that was a good thing. So I was very excited to come home, and very excited to be able to get into the Farragut area, because that was the part of Knoxville I really wanted to live in and be part of the community. I will say that Steve greeted me probably in the first 6 months of being in that store, and I knew at that moment that he felt like all the businesses are part of the community, no matter whether they're large or small, and I appreciated that, because as a large business, sometimes you feel like you can kind of get lost in the corporate world. So it's nice on my end to be able to try to, I call it the grassroots. You want to be able to get into your community and be able to be part of events. I try to do some things in my parking lot occasionally, not too much, it gets a little crazy, but I do like to do certain things in the community to kind of build that relationship. Even though we're a larger business and we do have a location at Westtown, I like for the customers to know that I'm part of Farragut, my store's part of Farragut, we're part of the community, and we want our customers here to feel special and that we're here to serve them. So I appreciate the FBA, because I feel like it really helps all the businesses feel that way, whether they're big or small. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for your service.
All right, next up is Candace Viox, and after that will be Eric Whitener.
Hi again. I'm Candace Viox. I live in Concord Hills, 11045 Farragut Hills Boulevard. Again, I was here earlier. You guys, lots of you weren't here, but I was able to share with them kind of our slideshow and what Farragut Business Alliance does for the community and what the role is, the buffer from me being the president. I've been with the board for 7 years, and we couldn't do what we do for our small businesses without Steve. And that's why I reached out to several of our small business partners in the area. The events are vital to our marketing. A lot of our mom and pops, the jewelry makers, the people who make candles in their basements, the bakers that make cookies, they don't have large budgets. And they can't afford to go to Rocinha Festival and spend $1,000 for a weekend at an event. But with the funding from Shop Farragut and the Farragut Business Alliance, these small businesses that normally would not be able to have those the undue fees and the hardship for that, they can come to a Farragut event, and they're going to be able to reach people from our neighbors, the Hardin Valley and the Choteau area. Presentation, and I appreciate everybody who came, because I love my community, and I know you guys know that. But I just want to make sure that the Farragut Business Alliance continues to get funding, because our businesses need it to be able to take care of our community and be a voice for our community with our elected officials. So thank you.
Thank you, Candace.
All right, next up is Eric Whitener, and then after that will be Eric Johnson.
All right, Eric Whitener, the Knox Fox Real Estate Group over at 11553 Kingston Pike. So some of you may know I'm pretty involved. My wife and I are pretty involved in a lot of organizations around Farragut. One of the main reasons why we are is, one, to support the community, but two, also to share our business with others. It's our way, it's our marketing channel. So we have been big supporters with Steve and Shop Farragut when it comes to these events, because it's a way for us to meet potential customers. It's a way for us to grow our business and grow our brand in a way that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. To be honest with you, I'd never be able to have an event in my parking lot because it doesn't have the ability, I don't have the budget. So to be able to piggyback on these other things is a big, very important thing for us. Another thing to consider too is also what it means to the community, the ability to bring people together. You're bringing businesses, big businesses, small businesses, and people from the community to these events so that they can get to be a community, to get to talk with each other, get to know each other, and be aware of something they may not have known was there. I'll be honest with you, I don't stick my head into West End every other day. So every once in a while when I do go in there and I see something new, we want to check it out. I think these are great opportunities for the businesses that do decide to come to Farragut to get the exposure that they need to grow their business or even to maintain their business. Everybody else had a lot of great things to say, but coming from, again, the smallest of small, we need organizations like Shop Farragut to help us get our name out. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, and our last speaker tonight is Eric Johnson.
My name is Eric Johnson, and I live at 405 Harrow Road. And I'd like to address the Farragut Folklife Museum. The Farragut Museum was started by Mary Nell McPhee, the Leonards, Bob Leonard was our first mayor, and the Fords, and Eddie Ford was our second mayor, and many others over 40 years ago. And today it has been destroyed. The Civil War display from a battle fought and where soldiers died on the ground where we meet tonight is gone. The country store exhibit that represented several small community stores from years ago is gone. The large bronze bust of Admiral Farragut that was at the entrance to the museum and pointed out it was a museum is gone, and so are many other items. I was also told that Margaret Angel's paintings of old local historical landmarks are next. Several people had items on long-term loan and possibly permanent display were told to pick up their items. Several said they should remain at the museum, but they were told that they had to come get them. We were told the museum is closing in a few weeks for remodeling of the building. It is actually several months away. The museum volunteers received 2 emails from a part-time Farragut employee with his legal opinions about the museum, operation of the museum. He also warned all the museum volunteers about their responsibility for items hidden behind the new curtain that he installed at the entrance. None of the happenings were discussed with the museum committee. None of them were approved by the Board of Mayor and Alderman. The museum committee met this week, and they were told the museum would be set up in a certain manner in the future, and that's the way it was. They were not asked anything, they were told. A new employee with less than 2 months working for the town of Farragut is telling a committee where former aldermen, people that worked at the museum for 30 years or more, how to do their business. The Board of Mayor and Alderman representative for the museum committee was not there. That situation, I would suggest, if nobody on the Board of Mayor and Alderman want to serve on the museum committee, maybe you should find somebody outside that is willing to serve on the committee and report to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen on a regular basis. I suggest the Board of Mayor and Aldermen prepare some kind of a document that defines the operational responsibilities, authorities, and goals for a museum. There are many valuable documents and items not on display, and that they should be covered in this plan. Frank Galbraith, a lifelong resident, former Farragut teacher, museum volunteer, presenter of the annual Pearl Harbor and famous Tennessean programs, and presenter at the introduction of Farragut, is not here tonight. He says he would be too upset to come here, but his opinion is exactly as mine. And my last question to you, if it's such a hurry to close a museum, and it's maybe 5-6 months away until it closes, and then it's going to be closed for over a year, why would you pay a salary to somebody for 18 months for something that's closed? That's all I have, but thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Anyone else?
Would you like me to address anything?
Yes.
If you so desire.
I know there was we apologized to the museum committee the other day. There has been a lot of miscommunication, mostly due to an email exchange that unfortunately did not go out, even though we thought it did. So because of that, there was certainly some consternation between the museum committee seeing a lot of changes going on and not hearing what was happening beforehand. But I think we had a good meeting with the museum committee. There was a lot to discuss and hash out. The committee is going to work on getting a subcommittee together during the closing period to work on what the museum is going to look like whenever we come back after the town hall reopens, whenever that is, next year sometime. So there are definitely some challenges, but we wanted to get the museum cleaned up and stored away because it does take a long time to get all those artifacts and things put away and stored properly. There's plenty of work to do, plenty of documents and artifacts to make sure that we have properly stored away during that time, and a lot of things to plan for next year. So I feel confident that we'll get through this bump in the road and we'll have a great museum going forward.
Okay, thank you, David. I was at that meeting as well. There's work to be done, for sure. I will probably be attending more of those meetings in the future as I can. So hopefully we'll be able to work through some of the problems that has arisen, and we'll be able to make sure that the committee's involved in a lot of the decisions going forward. So, anyone else? David, do you have an answer? Nothing?
No, I would just want to make sure that whoever's communicating with that committee on email has the experience and understanding to know how to deal with, a group of very seasoned people who have given a ton for this town, and that we're communicating appropriately with them.
Agreed.
Vice Mayor?
I don't have anything to add to that. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Okay, well, if does any of the other aldermen have anything to bring up or discuss? Well, if that's the case, time is approximately 6:51 p.m. And without objection, April 27th, 2023 Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting is now adjourned.